Welcome to Finding Myself Through Obesity. I have had a really crazy week and I'm actually really tired, but let me just tell you what happened. So last week we talked about the fear that came up for me, just even considering eating healthy and realizing that that was my next step. I was feeling this, I don't know, that feeling when you know you have to eat better, but you don't want to, and so you want to eat everything. Yeah, I was kind of feeling that. So that morning I just went and, got me breakfast like I usually do. And then I sang at a funeral. And then I came home and I felt really sick. And the whole time that I was feeling sick, I kept having this thought that God is helping me move past this little fear that I'm having by making me sick, because all of a sudden I was like, oh, I don't want to eat anything. I wasn't hungry. And I just wanted fruit, and I had to really think about the food that I was feeding my body because I wasn't feeling good physically. And so I counted it as a little blessing, a little push in the right direction. And ever since then, my husband's got sick and my son's got sick. And so, it'll be interesting to see the changes that come out of this. But as of right now, I'm doing a lot better as far as how I'm treating my body and how I'm feeding my body. I'm eating a lot more fruits and vegetables. I'm eating more plant-based, but I'm not doing too extreme. And that is the one thing that I've always really struggled with, is going on some kind of a food plan and having it be this all or nothing. I'm either starving and eating nothing that I enjoy, or I'm binging eating everything. And I know I touched on this a little bit on my last episode, but this is going to be something that I'm going to continually be looking at, because when people who are overweight take away that food, or if you're not overweight and there's something that you use to buffer through your emotions, the thing that you want to do when you aren't feeling good, and you give that up, there's this void left inside of you. And we know that I'm never going to go my whole life and not have a cookie. That's not realistic. Even if I had the intentions of never eating a cookie anymore, chances are that I will eat a cookie eventually. And so I want to get to the mindset that I want to feed my body healthy and do my best every single day. But if I do mess up, that I can have compassion for myself and see the things that I am doing right and continue to go on that path of making good choices, instead of, in the past, I would have this really strict diet, and whenever I would mess up, then I would start sabotaging myself. And so as I'm going on to this new way of eating, and I really feel like me getting sick was a blessing. It helped me push through that fear and kind of forced me onto the other side, which I'm super grateful for. So this week, I'm going to be more conscious about eating more fruits and vegetables, more plant-based foods, because I believe that is what's best for our body. I'm not going to never eat meat or not eat meat or cheese, but I'm going to try to eat plant-based foods. I believe that God created our bodies to eat certain things, and I feel like plants, the things from the ground, are what God intended us to eat. And that's just where I'm at right now. You can't really go wrong eating fruits and vegetables, right? As I go through this week, I'm going to notice how I'm feeling. So far, there is a void, there is like an irritation. So first of all, I've been eating out a lot and spending money that I don't have. And that is playing a part in my guilt. And then I don't want to feel that. And then I want to eat more. And so it's like this cycle. And so I'm grateful for that. I haven't spent any money going out to eat, which I would, multiple times a day. And I can't afford that. And so you can see where there is that lack of accountability in that situation. And so I'm really grateful that I got sick. I'm grateful that God is assisting me onto this next step. And I'm grateful for this new mindset so that I can actually be noticing what I'm thinking, and I can be compassionate and forgiving when I go ahead, like the other day, and I ate a whole bag of Ritz crackers. And usually I would be mad at myself, but this time I was like, you know what? Look how good you've done. Look how many fruits and vegetables you've been eating. You haven't gone to McDonald's. You haven't spent money on food. You're fixing things at home. Like, look at what you're doing, Alicia. And I was like, you know what? I am doing better. And I was able to just move past that. I know those things are going to happen. So this is going to be a really important part. Like I said, being able to forgive myself when I make a choice that I know is not good for my body. And I am not focusing on weight loss, even though weight loss is the goal for me. And this is one thing that this is just for me. I don't want to be in a big body for the rest of my life because it limits me. And what I want to do is feel free. I want to feel free to go on a hike if I want to go on a hike. I want to feel free to be able to get off my bed without struggling. I want to be able to clip my toenails. I want to be able to tie my shoes without struggle. And those are just a few things that are hard to do when you are really heavy. And so for me, it's not a certain weight, but I want to feel free to do the things that I want to do without limitation. And so that is why when I very first started on this journey, I had a really hard time embracing the love your big body. And I love it that people can do that. But for me personally, I feel like I'm called to do something different for me. And I think everybody can get their own answers. I think there are people who are, if they're happy in their bodies, I love that. I think that's amazing. And it doesn't matter. I'm really explaining myself, even though I don't really owe it to anyone. That's all I can say is that I want to be free from limitations, as many limitations as I can. And so that is why I feel like it's important for me to go on this journey. And I was just having a beautiful conversation with one of my friends who had the sleeve surgery. And I have considered having weight loss surgery because of the fear of never being able to lose this weight. And there is nothing wrong with that. As I was talking to my friend who did it, she said to me, it's not the easy way. It's just a way that is forced. You're forced to do it. And because you can't have the foods and you feel physically sick if you have the foods. And so then there's this void left. And so even if I went down that path, I would still have to learn all of these things that I'm learning right now. I just believe that I'm going to be able to do this and do it in a healthy way. And I hope that I will be able to bring others along with me to have the mindset to know, how are we going to replace this need for food or the way that we use food in a healthy way that we don't feel lack all the time. And that is really what I want to discover. I was just thinking about, how Tony Robbins talked about all the successful people he interviewed to see what the success recipe is for successful, wealthy people. And I was thinking, I really want to interview people that have lost 100 pounds and kept it off for 5 years. What do they do and how did they replace that? Because I bet you that I would find there is a similar pattern to the people who let go of the food. I bet you they filled it with something good and healthy, because you can't just grit your teeth and bear it. You have to find something that replaces that need, so you're not always, white knuckling it and trying to just get through the moment. That's what I'm going to be doing this week. I want to get my house clean. I want to declutter everything. There's just so much that I want to do now that I'm not so focused on feeding myself and all of that. I had to be kind of stay home and cook meals at home and all these things. It's made me realize how much more I want. And so it's just another way that we cover up things that we don't want to look at. And it's beautiful. It really is. Our lives are precious. And I really believe that I was supposed to be 300 pounds. I was supposed to get to this place. This experience, you could never know how it feels unless you go through it. Just like many of you who've gone through hard things, nobody can really know what you've been through until they've been in your shoes. And I'm in these shoes for a reason. And I feel excited to learn and grow and be able to give people answers that I have always been searching for. Where I thought it was a diet, I thought it was losing weight. There's so much more to it, and it's so much deeper. And I want to heal those parts. And it doesn't mean that I'm never going to mess up. Like, I don't know that we'll ever arrive at this place that we want to be. I think it's constantly learning and growing. And that's why we need to get in a place where we are enjoying right now and see all the moments as blessings, because we only have right now. And I want to enjoy right now. And that's why I'm grateful for getting sick and for the desire that I have to start eating healthier. And that fear is gone because I've already stepped into it. A lot of times when you're, deciding what to do, that's the biggest part, is what are we going to do? How am I going to eat? And what diet am I going to do? And that is the most stressful part, because as a heavy person, you are afraid you're going to make the same mistake as you made last time. You're going to lose it, then you're going to get it back. And it's like having hope taken away from you. And it's not a feeling that any of us want. This is not a diet. This is just a way of living. And I'm going to take one meal at a time and try to feed my body the healthiest things that I have available to me. And I'm going to focus more on things that are plant-based and grown in the ground. And I will let you guys know how it goes. But so far it's been really good. I've been hungry and I've been kind of sick to my stomach sometimes, and it's been hard, but I also know that I'm on the right path, and I know that I'm never going to learn how to replace that need for food if I don't let go of that for now, so that I feel that void, so that I know what I need to fill it, if that makes sense. So in closing, I just want to say how grateful I am to God for the assistance He gave me this week. And I am choosing to believe that it came from Him, because it really did assist me into moving into a better place, into facing the fear, even though I didn't really have to. But I think the awareness of it, when we start being aware and we know what we need to do, then the universe starts to work for us. And I'm finding that to be true. So this week, let's think about what we can do to upgrade our health just a little bit. One step at a time, one meal at a time, even if it is just adding water. Something that is going to feed your body in a healthy way. We don't have to have any restrictions. Let's just add things that are good for us. A walk, doing a meditation, eating a fruit when you have a craving for something sweet to see if it curbs it. Just little things. And the last thing is, don't forget to have compassion for yourself when you slip and fall, because you will. We all will slip and fall. And we need to learn how to pick ourselves back up. We need to learn how to love ourselves through those ugly, scary, dark moments, because that's when we need to have our backs the very most. And I think that's one of the most important things that I've learned in this journey is that, number one, everything happens for a reason, to actually help us if we will look for the lesson in it. And number two, that we do not have to do anything to earn value. And the thing that makes us lose our value is the fact that we don't think we have value. It has nothing to do with the truth. It has everything to do with how we see ourselves. Our bodies and our emotions, they are not who we are. We are beautiful souls, unique, each one of us, that came to earth to learn and grow. And the more trials that we're put through, the more growth that we have So if you've had a really hard life, then just know that God knows who you are and what you're made of. And if you're willing to look into yourself, He will make a warrior out of you. I love all of you. I'm so grateful for all of the support, the text messages, any of the messages that I get. If this touches your heart, please send it to somebody or share it on your social media. Let's get this message out that we as heavy people don't have to suffer forever. That together we can figure out a new way to enjoy our lives and to get healthy and not have to be scared all the time. And there's nothing better than doing it with a community who understands what you're going through and who feels what you feel. I invite you to come join me on this. We are going to have a bunch of soul warriors who are going to know who they are. When they learn who they are and what their value is, we'll go on to help the next person because they know there's something better out there. And when we know there's something better out there, we have to share it with all the people we love. Because we don't want others to suffer. If you thought of somebody while you were listening to this podcast, I invite you to share it with them. We will talk to you guys next week.